Today I decided I'd get back into doing a few interviews and I'd start by picking on our local council. So I rang Councillor Rob Pascoe. Um, he just happens to luckily be the first one. How are you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, thanks, Lance. And thanks for putting me to the top of your list.
What are you doing to personally to deal with all this lockdown? And I know you're keeping busy with Zoom calls and things like that for council, but outside that, are you doing anything interesting to occupy
Oh,
yourself?
yeah. I've certainly got to know my neighbourhood with all the walks that I've had and the calls out I've made to neighbours who I haven't previously seen before.
Yeah.
I'm I've also become reasonably good at baking bread.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that's doing a lot for my waistline at the moment. We're eating great food and enjoying the odd glass of a good red wine. So there's an upside to being stuck at home
Yeah.
yeah, and that part of it has
Yeah.
been quite enjoyable.
Back to basics, bread and wine. That sounds good to me.
Bread and wine.
You just need to throw in a bit of cheese. You have to learn how to make some cheese or something. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
That'll come next.
But we've got weird times. As I say, we're living in interesting times at the moment. Um, we've got a mayor who has just gone through Christmas, gets out of Christmas, and thinks things are getting back to normal in her first time as being mayor, and all of a sudden we've got this coronavirus situation, which has thrown a spanner in the works to some degree. Um, you know, as a councillor, this must be the strangest period as councillor that you've probably experienced. Really, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be correct?
I think that we were heading into some really good times from an economic perspective and an opportunity for the city to respond to the needs and the growth in the city and to have some reasonably strong a reasonably strong financial position to start doing these things. And as chair of finance, there was a kind of a high beam on the car that we could actually see what might lay ahead in terms of getting this city in a good state to respond to growth and so forth. Now, of course, the headlights are being turned down, and we have we've got a little bit of fog in front of us
Yeah,
where we're actually trying to navigate what might be some unexpected costs and some loss in revenue that we hadn't previously expected that would happen. But that's the nature of a pandemic or an unexpected
yeah.
event, which is what has happened.
Well, council seems to have dealt well with the basic infrastructure so far that most people notice, and that's um, the rubbish collection, water delivery, wastewater, um, and I live on a street with trees on it, so we've seen the street sweeper go up and down the street dealing with the leaves on the street. So from that perspective, it's relatively normal. But I think the biggest thing with council is going to be the costs involved because Hamilton City Council has put in a lot towards helping the people of Hamilton in dealing with this situation. And there's been a lot of money go towards that. Um, there's I'm guessing I'll get you to comment on this later. There's a lot of money going towards keeping staff working and employed and this sort of thing. And then of course councils are in a perfect position, assuming finances allow, to have projects get going that provide employment and put money back into the local um, economy in Hamilton and also to some degree the greater economy for New Zealand. So, where do you see initially Hamilton's going to be heading along these lines? How they're going to be coping with it?
Yeah. Look, I think there's a whole batch of responses that I can make to what you've just said. Certainly, essential services have been maintained, and I think we've done the city's done a good job in that. You know, we're back to recycling glass and a whole lot of things that sort of initially ceased at the beginning of the lockdown. What we still don't know, and this is a real challenge for me as chair of finance, is we don't know of a lot in terms of a lot around the issues of those organisations and parts of council that have had to close down, and how they will and how quickly they'll be able to respond if we move back to level 2 next week, and hopefully level 1 a little further down the track, where it will be potentially trying to get back to what might be normal business or business as usual. And you know, when you think about the airports being closed for the last 6 weeks largely, and that's a city asset. We own 50% of the airport. We've got H3, which owns the stadia, and Clauden's Events Arena, Seddon Park, and a whole lot of other community assets, and that will have lost income, and it will have had expenses for which there's been no matching income over that period. So we're not sure, if there's going to be some sort of bailout need. We've got all the sporting and community groups around the city who are already indicating to us that they've been hit adversely by the lockdown, in the sense that the theatres have not been able to have any shows, and the sporting clubs have not had any matches, and so forth.
Yeah.
We've got Hamilton Waikato Tourism, which is another major organisation that the city funds. There's Te Waka, there's Momentum. All of these groups will start re-emerging, hopefully next week in level 2, and they will be potentially asking us and other groups, including central government, for some sort of financial support. So we really have to prepare ourselves to see what we can do to help them to get up and running again. And it won't be easy to hand out money, and of course we and a lot of the other groups haven't got a lot of money to hand out.
No.
But we need to get that going, and that will get the city back into, when I say business, it'll get it back into business and activity again, so that we are trying to get back to some form of normality as quickly as we can.
Yeah, because we're going to be on sort of a modified version of normality for a reasonable length of time, which will affect things like, for instance, with me, I'm used to being able to go to the gardens to do photographs with people and things like this, and at the moment I have no idea when the Hamilton Gardens, the theme part of the gardens, will be open again. I'm used to doing a few tutorials up at the zoo with teaching people how to photograph animals and things like this occasionally. And I've had to make a bit of a change to how I do things. But there are businesses far more affected than me. The bike shop where I got my bike from, for instance, yes, they have a slowdown in summer when it comes to bike rentals, but they still do get some on fine days like we've currently got normally. So that's been affected. Bike sales, a lot of shops are used to people coming in and browsing. Restaurants are used to people coming in and sitting down and deciding, how many people are not buying from restaurants because they can't sit down, this sort of thing, and that does affect the local economy, and it'll be interesting to see how many businesses actually survive through this, and what's going to happen with the shape and style of Hamilton, especially considering we're going to be, even if we go to level 2 very shortly, that's got restrictions, and we're going to be stuck at level 2 for anyone's guess how long that will be.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And, I mean, even when you look at this 100 people gathering area, if you took, let's say you took the zoo, and I don't know how many staff are up there, but let's say there's 35 staff working at the zoo,
Yeah.
including the cafeteria and all of the other bits and pieces. We can only really let 65 people go into the zoo at any one time because of that 100 people gathering
Yeah.
sort of rule. So it's not as easy as it sounds that 100 people can visit the zoo at any one time. And Hamilton Gardens are likely to be the same. There'll be the staff and the volunteers and so forth who
Yeah. And
help out at the gardens,
it's
and that'll all be part of the 100 people
yeah.
for a particular gathering. So some of those rules are going to have to be reviewed or loosened or tightened or whatever, but it's not going to be, me going to the zoo and as soon as I come out, you might be able to go in. So there's going to be some real challenges. And as you say, if we're lucky to go to level 2 next week, who knows how long we might be in level 2 before we can move to, what might be a business as usual
Yeah.
or life as usual situation at level 1.
I noticed there's been 2 new job titles surface out of this. A person who stands at the door counting people as they go in the door, and sanitization specialist going around with gloves and masks cleaning everything.
Cleaning all the supermarket trolleys and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, because for that it's not like they can just have anyone do it at any time. They actually need someone specifically doing that for a period of time.
Yep.
Then they change jobs. It's like shop stackers are probably working overtime at the moment, and things like this. But it's an interesting time, and the things with, well, for instance, take this 100 person maximum gathering thing. That does have an interesting effect of, if this isn't sorted by, say, September-ish, October-ish, how does that affect our normal practice when it comes to an election year?
Yeah, look, these are all questions that, as we try to think that life is getting back to normal, how normal is it going to be if there's a whole bunch of rules, and some of those rules might be too restrictive in certain areas? How are we going to maintain a consistent set of rules to fit what's perceived to be the needs at that stage?
Yeah.
But anyway, coming back to council, I guess those are the worries that I have in the immediate future. I suppose one of the biggest challenges that we've got to do as city leaders, or one of the biggest tasks that we've got to investigate as city leaders, is how we participate and help to stimulate the local economy and get it back into top gear again. And there's lots of good economic theory around as to how we can do that. When I say we, how we as a society can do that.
Yeah.
How we can make sure that jobs are retained, and how we can create some jobs to get the local economy up and running. In my view, anyway, much of that stimulus needs to come from central government, and I see council's role, and certainly the local role of groups like Tainui and Momentum and Te Waka and some of the bigger businesses in the city. I see us being partners with central government in getting that activity up and underway, and so I see us as being more managers
Yeah.
of the government's stimulus projects.
Yep.
Council doesn't have a lot of money to spend millions and millions of dollars on projects unless they're already budgeted for in our long-term plan. And we do have a lot of growth projects in there. It's then a matter of how we might rearrange those around between the years that they're in our long-term plan, and how we might reprioritise those so that us and central government working together can deliver on those projects. And you'll probably be aware that Hamilton City Council, along with other major stakeholders, including the other surrounding councils, put forward all those shovel-ready projects for this region to government, and government's currently considering those. And, the word we hear is that government are looking to provide financial stimulus to help get some of those projects underway. So instead of maybe a project in year 8 of our long-term plan, which might have cost us 20 million, I'm personally hopeful that if the government sees that as a priority project, that they might come to us and say, we'll pay 15 million, you put 5 million in, and let's get that project underway now rather than wait for 2025 when you previously had it in your long-term plan. And that means that we can, and I say we, the royal we can employ people, we can get the contract underway, and we can get the work being done, albeit 5 years earlier than what we had originally predicted. And we've got some central government skin in the game. Central government has a lot more streams of revenue. We only have one major stream of revenue, and that's rates. That's the one that we can control, and we can control that by putting rates up or down depending on what our needs are. Whereas government have got a whole range of taxes, and they've got the ability to borrow significantly, and they haven't done that in recent times. So they've got a really good balance sheet to kind of get started with some debt for infrastructure, which of course is long-term asset, intergenerational. The benefits will be not just for you and I, but for our grandchildren and great-grandchildren probably in 40 or 50 years' time.
And because a lot of this spending means that if you're able to, as a council, able to pay for contractors to do certain jobs, then those contractors are spending their money somewhere in the community, and you start getting that money moving around again. Yes, it's going to be a slow process. Might take a while to build up speed and
you'd be surprised if we got and that's why the government have called for shovel-ready projects, because they want these projects to start within 6 months. And let's say we did have a widget contract or whatever. The moment that production starts, or they start laying out the new road or whatever, there's employees, and those employees will live locally, and they'll start to spend their wages and that money will start, and they'll go and buy food from supermarkets and have food at takeaways and all of those sort of things, and they'll stimulate that local economy. And so those businesses will either re-employ, or they'll be able to afford to continue with their staff, and so the whole process reignites itself, and the economy starts getting back into top gear again.
Is there anything, just before we go, is there anything you'd like to say to people to look forward to help people have a positive approach? Because I think we don't want to spend time and energy worrying about things we can't change. We need to look at dealing with the things we can, dealing with the situation, and being a little bit more positive where we can. And is there anything you'd like to say to people about the future of Hamilton, the shape we might have?
This is my third term as a councillor, and I have to say, when I look around the council table at the moment, we've got some really good, strong leaders in there who are focused on some really good outcomes for the city. And I think, as a team, I think it's better than what I observed in my earlier two council terms. And secondly, I think we need to not accept that we can do everything for everybody. We're a relatively small player financially in what's needed to rebuild our economy, and I think we can successfully partner with government to deliver local projects here. And I think we can do it better than central government can, because by the time it's decided on and where steward through Wellington, I think there's a good chance that if the central government comes back and says, Hamilton City, would you manage this contract, or we manage it jointly with another council, or with Tainui, or with perhaps another corporate partner, then we can get those outcomes a lot faster, and we can probably get some better pricing running and managing it locally than what we might do if it's done centrally. So, I applaud the government on their strategy around infrastructure, but we've got to find a good way of delivering it quickly and efficiently, and that would be my formula that I would see that would best do that in the current circumstances.
So Hamiltonians can feel confident that the council is, in essence, keeping them in mind and doing what we can to keep Hamilton moving forward and stopping Hamilton from sliding backwards in any way.
In my view, yes.
Cool. Oh, thanks very much for your time, and
okay,
enjoy making some more bread and drinking some more wine.
Okay.